I'll go ahead and introduce. Alright, so what's up, everybody? This is going to be a bit of a different video than usual, if anybody even still, pays attention to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about the problem that is Lolicon, and how bad it is getting at this very moment. Y'all want to introduce yourselves?
I'll go first here. My name is Sophie.
Name's Cage.
I'm, wait, are we using, have we decided on what we're,
I just left you as guest star.
okay, I'll just say I'm a guest star.
Alright. You can say you're Luna if you want.
I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
what my whole personality is.
Yeah, so it only makes sense, right?
Alright, so as I said, we are discussing the growing issue that is Lolicon. So anybody want to go ahead and start us off on any issues that we've been having?
I stuck at just explaining things, like when I'm put in the spot. I have a bit of a stuttering, I have a
Essentially,
stuttering issue.
Lolicons are basically like pedos. They're actually in love with little girls that are basically fictional. Yet they think about they wanna do them. Just put
Yeah.
it that way.
So lately, I've just noticed that they've been getting more aggressive. I won't say to who exactly, but there has definitely been a moment that I got myself involved in, which you can see on screen right now. Those are DMs from, or not even DMs, those are posts from people who basically disagree with me or my logic. And yeah, what happened was I was defending our friend because our friend, who again I'm not saying the name of, was continuously being called a zoophile by these effectively pedos because, let's be honest, they just disagreed with an opinion of all things.
Which is
Not even
usually
that,
how that
they're-
goes.
They're trying to use the fact that I was a furry to say that I'm a zoophile because I claim that they're pedos for liking Lolly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And naturally, they would be the one to start that fire to begin with, and that's why we're here.
I will say this though, looking back, when I made the OG post where I basically claimed that fictional characters being sexualized should still be pedophile, I will admit this, that I shouldn't have sound so demanding, and I should have elaborated a little more, and I feel like it was just poorly worded. I will take that for myself and to say that I feel like I could have worded it better and not come off as so demanding and dictating. Like, I'm not... Basically, I just feel like I could have worded it better is what I'm trying to go at.
And I gotcha. But yeah, see, the thing is regardless of whatever these Lolicon defenders, regardless of what they argue, their logic is that what they like resembles kids. And as Sophie said in the past, if they want to reiterate on it, with anthropomorphic animals, they clearly don't represent a anything that you would have a problem with. Yes, maybe they have like wolf tails or something like that, but they're clearly not meant to. They're, to me at least, they resemble people more than they resemble animals. Because one, they stand on two legs. Two, they communicate like people. They act like people. It's like I don't see an animal. I see a person.
Yeah, and actually, I'd like to interject and start building on that foundation. I really is it's such a apples to oranges type of comparison, really, if you think about it. And the reason I say that is simply just because you look at Anthers, and there's so much you could do with it, and a lot of the content is, in fact, quite wholesome. I mean, look at some of Robin Hood from Disney, just as one example, and then there's Zootopia, etc., etc. There's been content made where it's publicly viewed, it's legally okay, and then this whole comparison with the Zoophilia thing is not really accurate, because let's look at some of the other artwork. How about the quadrupeds that have the, sentience that, a person would? See, that's where it starts to cross that fine line. That's where, at best they could compare it to. But you see, that's just one part of it. There's so much to it. You got a big tree with so many branches and stems, and you're comparing it to Charlie Brown's little, like you look at it, it's like, what is that? If anything, I have to honestly say the more anthropomorphic style notion to it, I gotta say it's more extraterrestrial in that sense that it's not existing on Earth.
Exactly.
Alright, you look around, do you see that? How about circles? You ever seen a circle before in your entire life? Yeah, neither have I. Because they're just 100% fictional at that point. Yet they're still categorized within everything, all the same. Funny how that works. But when we think of it, lollies and shoulders, then we start to realize, oh, there's quite an abundance of children around on Earth. And it has too much of resemblance, and it has too much of, it really comes off as very shady. And of course people are going to call you a pedophile, because that's kind of what you're into, essentially.
Yeah.
So to hold them up on an equal level, on a balanced scale, is quite honestly impossible.
I want to reiterate on something again. Like, with furries, you can have them as anything. With lollies, it's specifically children that they're meant to resemble. Like, there's no other way around it. It's literally people attracted to children, and that's why we call it pedophilia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
why there's
furry children characters also exist.
Yeah, which is equally bad.
About to talk about that too.
Yeah, true.
Funny enough. And, when we get talking about the hybridization of it, then you realize it really is an apples to oranges conversation, because that's just a fruit cocktail of apples and oranges at that point. But you see, they're two separate things.
Yeah.
Right. Just like Sophie said, they are two separate things, and they're not descendant, and we're not cousins to those lowlies. Furries are totally different than lowlies. Not even cousins, not the same. Totally different.
Yeah, and again, the whole appeal to lollies is that it's people that resemble children. Like, maybe they're older than children, but they still resemble children, and that's the part that disturbs me. And what disturbs me more is the idea that apparently it's like normal that these characters look younger than they should. Like, I can understand if it's like you have a 500-year-old person, but like they look 20 or something, like they clearly resemble an adult. When it's a child, it's like, again, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the amount of, like, can I say the word porn?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't think this video is getting monetized.
Alright. It's like when I see porn of Octavia, like, from Hell of a Boss, like, I understand different Octavia characters exist. I'm referring to Hell of a Boss's Octavia, who is canonically 17 years old.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't see it often, but there's the occasional pop-up when I'm just trying to look at art online, and I just see it and it's like, oh, come on, why does this exist?
You just see it and you want to die. I know that feeling.
Right. I mean, you're aging up a 17-year-old character to like 18, 19, 20.
Oh, here's the other thing too, actually, is another thing that bothers me is they come at, people like this in such a fashion that they're so bothered by the fact nobody accepts it, but then they make it even more unlikable because I've had experiences. I've seen people deal with it themselves about, receiving the out of the blue DM that would be like a baby in a crate, like this is a role play situation,
Right.
and literally this person in detailed format explain how there's a baby in the crib at the door, basically pumping a boner. Like, who wants to read that when they log into the Twitter first time? Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody.
exactly.
So,
It's
that's where you guys are kind of, pushing it.
Right.
yeah. It's
And
I
you
just
see,
want.
before all this fiasco with everything and the harassment that happened recently, that's kind of what it was prior,
Hmm.
and that's why you guys are in such a dark light.
And it's
Exactly.
fucked up too to think, and you can see it in the pictures I have up, at least the ones I sent. See those likes? People were saying dumb shit to me, and like as defending Lolicon, they got so many likes. Like, who the fuck is that lifeless?
Right. And not to mention,
I noticed
yes,
that too. That was like the one thing, like people, like the people like going against this shit got ratioed, and I hate
Exactly.
using the word ratioed, but I'm using it to just to tell you what happened.
Yeah, it's
Good.
yeah, it's like these people's opinions probably matter most when like they're getting the most attention. So like it doesn't even matter to them that we're bringing up a good point. It's literally just, oh, I ratioed you. I got more likes. Yeah, it's like, well, you again.
They're just showing that they're exposing themselves more, because more people are gonna see how fucked up in the head they are.
I
Then
just
again,
want to.
NFT accounts get like 100K followers, so there's that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
people who invest in
Doesn't make
NFTs
it
are
any more
dead to me.
likable.
People
really,
invest in
That's a story. That's a story for another time.
Doesn't make it any more likable, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is a story for another time.
Yeah, of course.
NFT cryptids. We might cover that some other bit time, but
Oh yeah,
that's
that'd
not
be a
right
good
now.
video. That'd be a
Yeah,
good
and-
video
I would
idea.
enjoy
Right,
the rip and tear
definitely.
on that one.
Mhm. But not only that, not only that, like I said before, completely is true, but these guys that are in the pictures don't want to believe it. But Lolicon is in fact illegal in the U.S.
Yeah, that
It's highly illegal in the U.S.
somebody send me a picture of that, and
Yeah.
then I can show it.
I don't have
Sure
the
thing.
picture.
Oh,
I do.
yeah, I was gonna say either of Sophie or Cage should have
Which
it.
I have actually quite a few images. Honestly, I could share.
I have the screenshot.
Funny enough, by the way, it's almost like a kind reminder by the FBI, whoever this was who was behind it. But I actually searched hate memes on Lolicon. The first thing that comes up here, hilariously enough, that top message right there: warning,
Right.
child sexual abuse imagery is illegal. As a kind reminder to you guys, because lo and behold, I couldn't even search up your fandom without that coming up. How come? Why doesn't that happen when I search furries? Answer me that one. Answer me that one.
riddle me this, you lolicon fucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's a degree that maybe you guys' fandom is okay in what you do, but that silver lining, where it breaks into a fraction, there's more bad than there is good at this point. From what I've seen, from what I've experienced personally,
Yeah.
and what friends have experienced personally, that's what I'm gauging off of and what I've researched. And honestly, it doesn't
Right,
really
and of
derive
course,
any good.
Right, and of course, again, here's my screenshot that I literally do agree with. Is that again, it's completely illegal.
Yeah, it's
Quick question: what website did you pull that from?
Oh, which one? Oh, that
The
excerpt.
screenshot. Like, is it like an actual refutable source?
I don't know. It just sort of came up when I searched "fuck long." The group name, funny enough. But yeah, I searched that on Google, and that was the first thing that popped up. So it's like they know it's up. And it's funny that I feel like I should touch on that subject. At least in my state, where I live, I've looked up, in terms of what they do on that case-to-case basis. I guess there had been, in fact, 8 different cases in which Lolicon slash Joda was presented as evidence in terms of this kind of conduct, and they were charged and fined. Yeah, or I guess that's more or less the same, but he did. They went to do the time, and they got fined hard. I'm not sure, whatever Baba guy they got hooked up with in jail, or the fine. Which one of those fucked them harder? I couldn't tell you. But apparently there were 8 different cases, from what I understand.
Yeah, I just want to say it again. Like, I've said this to someone, I forget who, so luckily I won't even be able to name drop them if I wanted to, but there was somebody who said, like, am I not allowed to enjoy my fiction or something, talking about lollies. I said, your fiction will land you in the state prison, and I still believe that, because what we have to understand is, the thing about lollies is, again, it's attraction to little kids. Like, you could twist it around however you want, it's still attraction to little kids. And if it's a unhealthy addiction, it will eventually become a real problem.
Yep, exactly. As far as I know, the feds, they kind of gauge it off of, how obscene that really is, and chances are it's going to land you, as it has, from my state. 8 different people can vouch for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, again, people can argue all they want about, like, the age of consent. It's like, oh, the age of consent is actually 13 in Japan. It's like, well, do you live in Japan, my friend? It's like, they can say all they want about like, the age of consent being lower in other states or, like, other countries, but what they have to understand is, you don't live in those countries. So your addiction is still wrong. And I do want to bring up again that there will be a point you reach where it's like, you may or may not commit a very, very bad action because of your addiction. Because the thing about addiction is it can always spiral out of control. And if it spirals out of control, it may lead to someone getting hurt. And again, the whole thing about Lolicon is, it is indeed, people are obsessed with the idea of these kids. Like, that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, the last person I knew personally that was that way, I gotta be honest, a lifeless loser. They have no job. They sit on their ass and play, Sims 4 or RimWorld or whatever the fuck it is. And I gotta be bloody honest, not just the fact that it's sad, but not to mention that they just have the toxic and manipulative type personality too. And they twist and abuse words where they can in situations such as these.
Oh, and I think I
It's
know what
really
you're
no
talking about
different.
too.
And yeah, the guy was into the same exact fandoms, and that's where I can actually gauge and say it's a pretty toxic fandom. Now, is everyone that way? That's not what I'm saying. Why I am saying the majority, chances are probably are. And the idea around what this whole fandom is based on is rubbish. It's not a kink, it's a mental problem. Seek help.
Agreed. See, the thing about furries is, people will say that it's a mental problem. It's not a mental problem to be a furry. Because, again, with furries... Go ahead.
Calling it a mental problem is honestly more of a meme at this point. Sometimes I'll make jokes about it as a furry myself. It can be fun sometimes, but I can't agree that it can go pretty far.
Yeah, and it does have that side. I'm definitely not going to cast that aside. The fandom does have issues, to say the least.
Yeah, agreed. Like, someone who was trying to ratio me brought up Kiro. It's like, it much like how people on the spectrum do not consider Chris Chan part of the like. People say Chris Chan is not a representative of people on the autism. I say Kiro is not a representation of people who are furries. Because Kiro was just an extreme, you know?
And his
Yeah,
crew
and do we have to
was
even
the
bring
only
up the
one.
other one?
He's not,
Um,
Hero was not the only one that had all. That was like a total zoo. He also had like a few friends with him that were also
Right.
crazy zoos. One of them actually ended up in prison. Funny enough, Levi Dane Simmons was his name.
Yeah, it's like, again, we don't consider these people representatives of our group or the fandom in general. It's like, these were people who were sick individuals, but they weren't sick individuals because they were furries. Like, being a sick individual and liking something are two completely different things depending
Also, fun
on...
fact: Hero was actually a zoo before he became a furry.
Yeah, exactly. And he you know what? Thinking about it now, Kiro probably was made himself a furry just so it would be slightly, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the thought process. It's like, oh, I can be a part of this community, and it's like, and they'll accept me. It's like, no, the fuck we don't. Like,
No, exactly.
Yeah,
Like we don't.
exactly. Their mindset right there is they could loophole it and they couldn't. Just like this whole thing with lollies and shooters, it's more or less the same. Once they
Yeah.
get in a loophole,
Mm-hmm. Like nobody wants to RP with you. Just how about you get the F off of Twitter and go somewhere else. Nobody wants to deal or
you know where they
RP
should
with you.
go if they get off Twitter. Go get
Prison.
professional help.
Yeah, vision or personal help. Yeah,
Oh,
I agree.
professional fucking help. That's
they,
exactly what I told this god that I speak of. You know, the one that I spoke of earlier. That's exactly what I said. That's what his dad said. Did he ever get it? Fuck no.
he
No.
got Zufa or Lolicons go to prison. It's like that Lenny Baxter thing where it's like that joke we made yesterday, Sophie, where it's like they let a prisoner go just so he doesn't have to be in the same cell.
Right.
Oh,
That's
Right.
what I'd imagine would happen. It's like, hey, why am I being let go early? See, we have this guy who's addicted to lollies. Okay, say no more. I'll take my freedom.
Yeah, and you could just the guy could just say freedom, freedom. You get the idea.
But yeah, it's like, again, the fucked up part is that, you know, because the thing about Lolicon is I'm sure they get their extremes, but overall the community is still, oh, we like people that resemble kids. It's like, it's fucked up regardless. Like,
Yeah, I'm like even those who defend Lolicon. I mean, you're definitely messed up in the brain here, pal.
and I want to
Yeah,
say
because
this.
it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier with the comparison. It's a big range compared to a small margin. You know, just set a second example here. You know, you look at furries, and there's just a large range. You got the anthropomorphics, you got the the quadrupeds, and then so etc. You know, you got so many different variants, so many different things going on. Whereas lollies and shooters, it's centralized around one subject matter that is children, that
Yeah.
is young people. You know, emulating the idea of them being children, and that's where
Yeah.
I come in with the get help part. But
Yeah, and
with
also they're
furries,
gonna
there is a couple categories that, granted, yes, there are those moments where I say also go get help. But then you got the other categories within furries where it's like, yeah, that's fine. But shouters and lilies don't have any category that's where I can say is, oh, that's fine, because it's not. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's like, again, I want to bring this up, or this was something I was gonna bring up. It's like you can have like underage furry girls, and even I get uncomfortable when people like do or say that they're gonna do horrible shit to them. Like for example, Marichu from B&A. Like I understand she's 18 at one point in the show, but it's like she still seems really young, and the fact that she's at one point underage, it's like the same thing with Octavia. You know, it's fucked up to see. Now I would.
Fucked up,
What's
also
up?
fucked up to ship her with her own father.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, it's a really bad ship, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, and I
And the
want.
fact that people actually try to loophole that even as well by simply aging her up is kind of a sick idea. Because now they're just taking what's canonically, again, a 17-year-old still under the age,
Yeah.
and you're just jumping the number up just for the sake of being lewd with them. I mean, come on. Have a sense of morality somewhere as a human being.
And then I also want to bring up this like Lolly Luna account that specifically requests that they be like 6 to 15. It's like that's fucking disgusting. And again, they want and it's fucking disgusting to think that somebody wanted to de-age a character who is at least over 18 canonically. They went like, "Oh,
I
I'm
headcanon her to be 20. She's probably at least 20 or 20, maybe 21 because she drinks.
yeah, I would say she's got to be at least 21."
Yeah, they don't specify an actual age, but she does
They say
drink.
in-
She
they say in-
definitely is an adult. She
They say in
definitely
episode
has-
3 that she was adopted when she was quote unquote almost 18, so that pretty much
Yeah.
straight
Yes.
up confirms she is
Yeah.
in fact over 18.
Yeah.
It looks like she's been around the office quite a while.
Yeah, I would say she's got to be at least 21 because she drinks. She's obviously over 18 because she yells at Blitz, you know. When she was adopted, she was at least over 18 and that she didn't need him. So it's like, yeah, she's clearly an adult. With Octavia, she's the same thing with Marichu. It's like, yeah, she's technically close, but being close is not the same as actually being the age of consent, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, twist it around all you
Yeah.
want. She is still a child. And she's probably, for all we know, an asexual child as well.
Confirm?
Octavia. Because I assume she's probably asexual.
It's a possibility. Wouldn't be surprised if that's confirmed.
Yeah, so far we don't know, but I could see it. I can definitely see that.
I'm gonna see it as well.
Oh. But yeah, it's like... It's like, again, with the whole furry argument thing, like, oh, well, you know, you're attracted to animals. It's like, well, you can have lolly furries as well, and that is still fucked up. In fact, I'd argue it's more fucked up. Especially, again, when you take into consideration that some of these people, like, make a character go from the age of consent to under the age of consent just because they want...
Right, but basically, we don't call it furry lolling. We call it cut porn, and it's
Yeah.
basically the same thing.
Except now it delves within furries itself.
Yes.
Which, of course, I've already spoken my piece with that, and just, you know, again, that kind of proves that it's apples and oranges when we can also see the same exact problem within our fandom, and we still don't accept it. It doesn't matter if they're furry. I don't want that shit anywhere near my fucking accounts. Simple as that. Which kind of leaps back to what I was saying earlier. God didn't even care. Still trying to follow, trying to message me, and many others, despite, you know, the dislike on it. And then people wonder why I don't like it. Really not.
Yeah, I want to bring up, and Sophie can back me up on this. I want to bring up a dude who was trying to like argue about like the logic to the point where the dude basically did a 7-year-old move of like, oh well, you're insulting me, I win by default.
Yeah, that was funny. to say the least, because I made good points. And yeah, granted, one of them kind of came off a little insulted, sure, but at the same time, he just written it off as me forfeiting the
We're back, guys. My stupid
argument.
dog's barking to get in.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, and that's basically like the kid that cries time out because I cheated. No, I didn't cheat. You just fucking can't handle the truth.
Right. Not only that, you don't actually, he didn't actually win. He, because again, he doesn't have to prove. Uh, the person did not have to prove saying that he won.
Oh, and again, I want to point out that this dude's argument was basically that, it's fictional characters. It's like, I understand it's fictional characters that don't exist, but again, with lollies, it's like, I think the reason why lollies disturb me so much is because, children exist, and even though you may have exaggerations, it is still clearly meant to resemble a young child.
I'm back.
Alright, hey, welcome back. But yeah, it's like, again, with lollies, the reason why they disturb me so much is because they clearly represent children. And it's like, I think the reason why they disturb me so much is because of the fact that they resemble children to me. It's like, and I understand that they're not real characters, but what they resemble, which are children, those exist.
Yeah, and I have yet to see an anthropomorphic character run about.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Unless someone can do, like, actual surgery to turn themselves into an actual hellhound, I don't think we'll see any anthropomorphic, like, people.
I actually want to elaborate on that too. The whole idea of a persona to begin with, anyways, it's almost like, look at an RPG, how you want to be a necromancer or some shit like that, and you want to be a specific race, like World of Warcraft or something, and you got your little personification there. That's more or less what that is supposed to be. I don't think you can say the same with that crap, with that fandom. No, I don't see it. But there you go. That's more or less the gist. It's just people within the fandom like to twist and turn it to disgusting things, just like lilies and shodas like to do.
Yep, I agree.
What? That's all it's centralized around.
But yeah, it's like, with the whole persona thing, it's like, yeah, some people like to imagine themselves as anthropomorphic wolves or something like that, but let's just say this, for example, or at least I'll use my own case. I just have a character who may not have the same backstory as I do, but he's kind of how I compensate with the stresses of life that I have, because, I wrote a character who is a lot like me, and when he overcomes some of his problems, I feel like I overcome some of mine, It's like, that's people's escapism. And the whole...
Yeah, and that... Go ahead.
And it's like, the whole idea that, like, oh, you just drew yourself as a wolf because you want to fuck that wolf. It's like, no. I drew myself as a wolf because I just like, in this case, I just like hellhounds, and maybe I wouldn't even say it's any symbolic reason either. I just wanted a hellhound character.
Right. Like you
I could say mine's symbolic. I have an anger issue. And the funny part was I never actually chose the hellhound. The hellhound chose me.
I don't write the script. I don't read the script. The script reads me.
Actually, cut that part out. I forgot.
Cut that part out.
I think I talked over it, so you're fine.
Well, either way, probably have to cut that part out. Whatever. But anyway, yeah, you could do so many creative things with it that's reflective on your persona. Like my case. I got a canine. I like dogs. Like, I'm a dog fan. Got 4 of them. Take care of 4 of them. But I really try to juggle that around. Whew. But in any case, I've made it reflective in such a way where this character here has my personality, even despite looking like their friendly, kind doggo, you know. Oh yeah, I still got my issues, and I incorporate that story driven. Like it's not a bunch of rubbish where I just want to get on my knees and
Yeah.
well, that's a sound of freaking fly. On
Yeah.
repeat.
Right,
Gonna-
and
Oh,
it's
so cool.
I'm gonna say this too. The people who like pretend to be dogs in public, like even I look down upon them because they're not right in the head either. Like that's what
Yeah.
that's kind of a thing non-furries need to understand about furries. Like just because we like, people who just because we like anthropomorphic characters that are like humanoid people that look like dogs, that doesn't mean we like to pretend to be those dogs. And as I've said before, like it's still fucked up to see.
right, and if someone told me that, saying, "Oh yeah, you just create yourself a wolf because you want to do that to your wolf," I'm like, no, that's not the reason why. The reason why I did that because to be honest, I do actually see myself as a wolf when I'm angry sometimes, or just in general.
Or maybe people choose it because they want it as more of a spirit animal,
Yeah,
reflection on
exactly.
that. I've
That's
seen
that's
that.
not true.
Yeah, it's
What else are
But
we
yeah,
hitting on?
essentially, it really boils down to trying to level with furries just to justify what they do is okay and that they should be accepted because they're not.
yeah.
It's a temper tantrum, really.
You know what? I am gonna mention one name, but it's only because of the hypocrisy he's been showing as of late about the whole Lolicon thing, and then dismissing again Luna, because that's the name you're gonna go with. Again, they pretty much dismissed the entire thing that was happening with Luna when this was happening, so I'm gonna mention them. Alec the Devil, who is on Twitter, so what happened was he was trying to dismiss the entire controversy because there's an account called the Pedophiles, and essentially what must have happened was a bunch of furries who were defending Luna were probably trying to call them pedos, and what happened was this account came out and said, "Oh well, just because they like lollies does not mean they are pedos. It's no different than how you like wolves." And it's like and he retweeted it, basically saying like, "Yes, that's actually a good point," basically, or like whatever the fuck he said. Let me actually find what he said, and then I'll read it out loud. Alright, so, yeah, the pedophiles, furries, you're not morally superior to lolicons. Let me just say this. Nobody ever said anything about being superior. Like, I don't think a single furry wanted to say that their kink is, or their interest is better.
Yeah.
Just because you're furries doesn't mean you're zoos, same for lolicons. Again, that is very flawed logic, because again, lollies are still kids. And then Alec the Devil, who I want to say, in his name, it says recovering from drama, and then he proceeds to spark drama. At least you understand what I see from both fandoms. Honestly, I wish all the fights that would go down would just end. Everyone says stupid shit, and fighting back only makes it worse for both sides. Best thing I think we should do is simply say A and move on. And again, this person was at one point defending Luna about some controversy that happened to them months ago, probably last year. And now they're completely dismissing them. And again, if he's trying to recover from drama, he's not doing a much better job by essentially incentivizing drama, or instigating drama, rather.
He does a good job at it, though, must say.
And yeah,
3 months, man. 3 months.
I also will say too that he does a lot of gaslighting. You know, gaslight me all you want, Alec. Go ahead, but I know what you say and what you do, and I still have pictures. So if you want to instigate, I'll fight back. You push me, I push back harder.
Yeah, let's not forget who basically essentially destroyed the room, and also sent DMs telling people how you want to kill them or see him be murdered. I think it was. I think that was the wording. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see it because you couldn't lift a finger to do it yourself. You're that fucking uninspired, dude. Like,
Right,
an
and
uninspiring person on that.
right, and
You're
just because, and just because someone who has done nothing wrong to you ever, you still decide you want to just see them get murdered.
Yeah. Let me say this about Alec
Out of
too.
the
You're
blue,
so
too.
unoriginal. Your fucking character is just Dante, who as a hellhound, and he has an enormous dick. Like, please, for the
That's
love
on
of God,
top of
Alec,
his
tell
head.
me I'm wrong.
Oh, of course he would.
But yeah, it's like, again, with the whole Lolicon thing, it's like, I understand that maybe not everybody who likes Lolicon are all, like, pedos, but again, it's like, you have an interest in kids, and to me that translates to being a pedo. Because, let me look up the definition of a pedophile real quick, and then I'll read it out loud.
Go ahead.
Because I'm gonna get this as accurate as possible. You see? Pedophile. Noun. A person who is sexually attracted to children. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's what it says. So if you like Lolicon,
Yeah.
you're a pedophile. Literally Google it, like, defined it for you. You know what I mean?
Right,
Hey,
and
would you,
again, it's against one of the laws here in the U.S.
Go ahead,
just kind of
Alex.
curious. How about just for fun? How about you look up the definition for zoophile?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let me do that too.
Basically, I could just put it simple.
Yeah,
A person who is sexually attracted to animals is what it says.
Yeah, that's what it
And you
is.
see that's animals, so that's going off the definitions: quadruped, unsentient creatures. You know, like how we kind of call them out, what they do in our fandom, going back to the quadruped Lion King type of porn. Yeah, see, that's what you got compared to, not all furries.
All
So the
right.
logic right there, it was once again debunked and once again brought to light. It's flawed.
All right. Let me.
Congratulations.
Oh, sorry. Just. I looked up the definition of animal: a living organism that feeds on organic matter, typically having specialized sense organs and nervous system, and able to respond rapidly to stimuli. So basically, it's describing a living animal. So
Yeah, which
But I wanna
also
see-
includes humans. So if we go off that logic, then I guess we're all zoophiles. Holy shit! Epiphany.
Yeah,
and now
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's-
look up anthropomorphic, because let's see, related or characteristics by anthropomorphism, having human characteristics. So again, anthropomorphic animal is relating or characterized and is meant to resemble a human. Again, again, I want to say, you want to call this furry,
Generalized statement.
again, you want to call furries zoophiles? It's like, well, by literal definition, you are still a pedophile, and now by literal definition, furries are not zoophiles because they're not attracted to animals. Because anthropomorphic animals are not animals by literal definition.
Exactly, they're not real animals.
Again, once again, just extraterrestrial. They don't really resemble animals. They have animal parts, sure. That might throw it off, but at the end of the day, you look at anthropomorphic and how many of those you see crawling around Earth here. I've yet to see one.
So yeah,
almost 33 years now.
You know what? Just to nail that, just to drive the nail in, let me look up a lolly. Lolly often refers to a young or young-looking girl character in Japanese anime and manga. And what did I say the literal definition of a pedophile is?
The sexual attraction to a child.
Exactly. So you Lolicon supporters, shut the fuck up. I used logic. See?
Yeah, trust me, they won't understand that one.
I tore apart your entire argument of furries are zoophiles with a few simple Google searches. And again, by literal definition, you are a pedophile. We are not zoophiles. Bing, bam, boom. I don't need to explain anything more. Like, I literally don't have to describe anything more than that.
No point now, nope.
But yeah, it's just like, I just think the reason why it's important to talk about it, at least right now, is like, the problem is just gonna get worse if we ignore it.
Yeah. Of course, there's gonna be...
a lot.
Honestly, if this whole situation has taught me one thing, is that the stupidest people will thrive on Twitter.
Exactly.
Like this one account, trans people posting L's, made it to 11k followers, even though it was posting blatant transphobia.
Yeah, I told Sophie about this. There was an account that was like rape victims L's, and it got suspended in less than a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they were back, and then they got suspended again.
Because people have no lives and just feel the necessity to continue to spit around the hatred. You see, the only reason we're doing it is because we've received it, so now it's time to send it back. See, I know I was just trying to mind my own business till I got that DM I mentioned. Like, I really want to wake up to that. Really? A baby in a crib, too, no less. Think about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get some water real quick, and then I'll be able to continue. Just fill me in when I'm back.
Alright. Personally, I'm not entirely sure what else I can cover.
I don't know what else to cover here. I think we covered enough.
Yeah, I know I've gotten everything out that I want to bring the line anyways.
Yep. I mean, whenever he does come back, you could probably say that we pretty much said everything that needed to be said.
Yeah, I think so. That's all.
Yep, I guess that's it.
Yeah, no, that's it for me.
That's it for me too. 'Cause,
Alright.
You sure?
I'll bet.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, I have
I
a
was
bathroom
gonna.
right next to me.
I was gonna say that I think we just said everything what we needed.
Yeah, alright.
Unity
Yeah, I
percent.
know. I've said everything I want to cover.
Yeah.
Cash, do you want to add anything, or are we good?
I think you meant Luna.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
calling him Luna just because that's what he's being represented as, but
Yeah, but I called him Cast. Just
yeah,
for the sake of it.
just again, if they want to argue with logic, at least I'm using logic. They ain't, these
Mm-hmm.
Lolicon defending fucks.
Yep.
Because again, if I need to point it out, pedophile is literally is defined as sexual attraction to children, and then furries, and then for a zoophile is someone who's attracted to an animal, and at least according to Google, with its literal definitions, a furry does not equal an animal, and then lollies here it says still count as young or young looking.
Furries do not equal zoophiles. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Even though that.
And
Even though that.
lolicons still define as pedos.
Right, and even though there are some of them out there, they don't belong in the fandom. Period.
Yeah, we don't accept them.
Yes.
If you don't want to receive the hate that you do, don't try to wedge your foot in the door, yeah? Because I'm going to slam it shut.
I just imagine they try to stick their dick in a hole or something like that, like in Porky's. Oh, Sophie just grabs it. I've not seen Porky's, but I'm familiar with that scene.
What scene?
Where like there's like a porthole into the girls' bathroom, and then one of the kids stuck his dick through the hole, and then the principal like grabs it. She's like, "What is this? What is this?" And she's like tugging on it or something. I don't know. I just know that it's a scene from that movie, and my dad actually explained it to me because I asked him about that scene. Like, is that a real scene in the movie?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I might have gassed myself.
Alright.
Yep, I think we said everything.
I guess that concludes the video, y'all. Thank you for listening to our video. I just hope that this brings some light as to the problems that are being brought up and the problem with Lolicon itself. See you all the next time I do a video. Peace out.